speaker today. Joe Spencer, the theater. The theater, Joe Spencer. The theater, the theater. What has ever happened to the theater? Now I have a confession to tell you here and now. I haven't always been interested in the theater. It just never happened. To be truthfully honest, I have always been interested in movies. You might call me the Siri of movie buffs. Yes, I know the physique doesn't say much, but it's about the mind, isn't it? Yes. But in high school, a whole 8 years ago, I decided I would give the theater a try. So I went to my local high school theater group. Now we had been studying Shakespeare, to be and not to be, and the blood is going to come out, and all of these other fantastic lines. And I go to see the local theater group. It was an experience. Now, it was nothing like I had ever seen in any of the movies I had ever watched. I sat down in my seat, and I looked around, and in the movies, it's packed. It's always packed. I counted 18. Maybe it's early. Don't count. By the time the production started, we were down to 6. We're doing good. Doing good. The thespians came out. It was Macbeth. It was the 3 witches. The cauldron at the center of the stage. Big black trash barrel. But we'll pretend. And they got around the cauldron. And the first center of which the thespian of the group got into the role. It was the witch. You were there with them. Thespian number 2 decided to wait. I don't know what to do. There was only 6 of us, but he decided to wait. Through the entire production, even dressed as Lady Macbeth. Poor thespian number 3, however, was sitting here holding up the theater walls because they were falling down. Throughout the entire production, he'd be sitting there going, "But, Lady Macbeth, I have to come across stage to help ye." Needless to say, my first theater-going experience scarred me for life. I vowed then and there, I will never go back. There's no way it's not going to happen. And sure enough, I didn't go back. 5 years ago, I was in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was down there for work, for a convention. Of course, I was still underage. So all of my coworkers went out drinking, while I had to find something to do. I decided to give theater one more chance. And I went to see The Phantom of the Opera at the Venetian. Now, at that point in time, I was still a relatively poor, broke college student. So I sat in the back, the nosebleed section. I spent $40 on a ticket, and I thought I saw a stage. But sure enough, the front room started to fill in, and I noticed there were a couple of seats available down front. I started thinking to myself, did they ever know? Could I run down and get a better seat? And about this time, an usher came up to me and said, "Sir?" "Yes." "Would you like a better seat?" It's like she's reading my mind. Yes, I will take a better seat. Sure enough, 6th row center. 6th row center. Now, I have seen the movie The Phantom of the Opera, so I know what's going on, and I happen to look above me. Glass chandelier. I look to my right, a little old lady from Pasadena. I look to my left, 8-year-old child. This is going to be fun. As the production commenced, it was one of the best productions I had ever seen to that point. Granted, my only other experience was high school, but it was the best production I had ever seen. The actors were running down the aisles, the decorations, the stage, the costumes were elaborate. And sure enough, the climax of the production is the chandelier falling down. I am ready for it. I know it's coming, so I'm looking at the Phantom as he's laughing on the chandelier, getting ready to drop it on the audience. And sure enough, it falls. Little old lady to the right. 6-year-old kid to the left. It convinced me then and there that I am interested in theater. It can provide you with things that movies just can't. While I was there, I saw the producers. I saw Spamalot. This was in 2 days. And I had seen 6 productions. I was an addict. I was ready for my next fix. Bring it on! Bring it on! This past year alone, I have seen a child beg for more. I've seen a lady with an umbrella fly over the audience. I have seen farmers and village people sharpen their pitchforks and their torches to go after the monster. In the end, it's always been said that the theater is dead. The critics, they repeat it en masse. But the theater's alive. It's going to survive, although it's a pain in the ass. You wait forever and finally get tickets. To get to your seat, you got to cross pickets. The guy to your right is frightfully tired, and the guy to your left appears to have rickets. The music's yuck, the lyrics suck, but the casting is all wrong. And when you reach the bathroom, the line is 5 miles long. But there is nothing like a show from Broadway. There is nothing like a Broadway show. Mr. Toastmasters.
Sergeant-at-Arms, if you would please escort all the contestants outside the room. Contestant number 3, Lipp. Lipp, contestant number 3.
A critic never wrote a play, and yet today I have to evaluate this stunning performance by Joe, talking about theater. Whatever happened to good evaluations? Whatever happened to theater? This first question pulled me right in for the whole speech. I was listening to his answer, waiting for that answer to come apart. Thank you, Joe, for holding me into this story. There are 3 things I want to talk about that Joe did excellent. All of us already know of it. The first, he used his vocal volume and his speech to really emphasize his emotions. He didn't have to tell us what he was feeling. He was showing us. That's the power of theater. He was showing us that he felt it was this cauldron with a trash can. He didn't say, that made me feel this. We could see from his tone of voice the disappointment. He used his body language to take us into the scenes, just like a great story. People holding the walls. What's it like to sit up in the nosebleed seats? He squinted. We were there with him. And perhaps the most important part of any story is that he made it relatable. He talked about things such as Phantom of the Opera, the most popular theater ever at Broadway. He talked about high school stories as well, something that most of us here have also experienced. It was a stunning performance. Pulled me right in. How do I, as a critic now, take him down a notch? I don't. I make some suggestions to add on to this already illustrious speech that he gave. My first suggestion, Joe, is that how did it enrich your life? How did it add to everything that you've known? We know what theater feels like now. I have no doubt. I love it. After hearing that, absolutely I want to go. But we were talking about you. How did that change your perspective of the world? After you stepped out of the theater, did you see people walking with umbrellas, and did you imagine them flying through the sky? Having that, then I would have connected with you because I was already connected to your emotions. And I wanted to really connect with your experiences outside who you were. The other thing you could set up, and this is just a minor point. You talk about high school theater. And you talk about this trash can cauldron and these crazy witches around it. Now, if you had counterpointed that by first starting, I had always dreamed of theater. I had always dreamed of this glorious French opera house with gold linen and people walking and prancing. And then I came to high school theater where they had a trash can in the cauldron. But having said all that, I think one of the things that I'm going to take home with me is that at the end you showed us theater. You rhymed. You didn't tell us what it was. You showed us. So Joe, it was a great job. You gave great scenes with your vocal variety. I think you could add a little more outside about how it changed your life. But overall, showing us and not telling us, that is your strength.